Mötley Crüe have officially announced yet another tour. Not only a tour, but the return of the Carnival of Sins tour, set to start in 2026, featuring special guests Tesla and Extreme. And before I jump into my full reaction, I just wanted to play this clip as well. So this is one of the clips that absolutely cracks me up. Every time Mötley announces a new tour, a new residency, a new song, this is the clip that plays in my head. For anybody who doesn't remember, this is back in 2014, right before the final tour, when Mötley Crüe signed a contract to call it a quits from touring entirely, claiming that legally they would not be allowed to tour anymore, that they would legally be bound to officially not tour. And this to me it's like an SNL skit.
Well, I mean, we started talking about it a few years ago, and we don't want to be one of those bands that maybe have one guy left in it or somebody's brother or something like that. We want to go out with the four founding members of Mötley Crüe and go out on top, and leave a legacy of a band called Mötley Crüe.
So this was the footage of Mötley Crüe signing a cessation of touring agreement back in 2014. This is my perspective on this issue. It gets to a certain point where, as a fan of these bands, you legitimately feel like these guys think you are not that intelligent. Look, if I'm going to be a fan of somebody, if I'm going to be standing in line to shell out my hard-earned cash to go see you in concert, to buy your t-shirts, to stream your music, whatever the case may be, if I'm going to put myself out, because these artists act like they're doing you a favor, you're the one doing them a favor. If you're in line at a show, if you're driving to see these people, you take a day off work the next day or that day to go to a concert, or you constantly have their music playing in your car, your headphones, you're actually the one doing them a favor. And that's a perspective that I wish more fans would have. But when I am putting myself in that position for somebody and supporting somebody like that, whether it's casual or not, I expect to be treated with a mutual respect. To me, it's a mutual thing. There's a certain way to go about treating artists, and whether you approach them or whatever it is, like there's a certain way to be to the artist, but I think the artist forgets that there's a certain way to treat your fans as well. And part of that is just a basic level of respect for the people that are putting you in these mansions. I mean, we've given these guys the chance to live lavish. It's us who've paid for it. Whenever I see a rapper on Instagram flexing his watch, I look at it like, hey, I paid for that. Yes, it's his money, but you and me, if we're fans, we paid for that. You see these guys at a 5-star restaurant, we paid for that. So if I'm paying for your mansion, I don't feel like I'm owed anything except for a basic level of respect. And Mötley Crüe has demonstrated over the past 10 plus years, since signing a fake agreement to never tour again, claiming they would be legally bound to never tour again, tearful goodbyes on stage to their fans, crying crocodile tears into the audience while charging thousands of dollars for tickets and meet and greets, all the while knowing that they're not ending, all the while knowing they're going to come back. It gets to a level that is to me unforgivable, and it's just disgusting. I mean, you know that you're going to keep going. Why are you crying on stage? Why are you leading the fans on? Why are you treating your fans like a cash cow? Why are you treating your fans like wallets with legs? That is the question I have for a band like Mötley Crüe, and it's not cute. Look, unless you're Ozzy Osbourne, who we all want to come back. Like, for me, every time Ozzy came back, I loved it. Maybe I'm biased. Unless you're Ozzy Osbourne, it's not cute. It's not cute. It's not a good gimmick. Kiss is kind of getting to that territory with me now, too. Because Kiss has announced that they have new music they're working on. We just did it, guys. We did the final tour. Then they announced the Kiss Cruise on Land, which I don't even know what that means. Next, I'm going to have a flight that's taking off on the ground. What is a Kiss Cruise on Land? What is a cruise on land? That doesn't even make any sense. What about all that money I just spent on the final shows? Listen, when these guys announce their final shows, I would clear my calendar to make sure I was there. When Mötley Crüe came to Edmonton for the final show with Alice Cooper, it was a big deal for me. I was a 17-year-old kid. And seeing Mötley Crüe was huge. The original lineup, because I had never seen a band with the original lineup before, because I'm in this era. So every band I've seen is not original. The concept that I could see the final tour of this entity, this institution that is Mötley Crüe, was a big deal for me. And I was super excited. I spent a lot of money. We spent money on tickets. We took the night off work, me and my buddy working at the comedy club. We took the night off work. We went to see the show. We bought dinner. We bought drinks. We bought merchandise. I bought a big flag that said the final tour, and I was waving that, and it was cool. And you could look, just for the record, I understand the perspective of somebody who would look at that story and say, well, you're an asshole then. You decided to spend the money. You showed up. Nobody forced you. I can see that perspective. You know what? I can actually see that perspective. However, I still think that out of common decency for people like that, because my story is not unique. My story is the story of many thousands and tens of thousands of people, hundreds even of thousands. I think just a basic level of respect and decency to those people is required, because what it makes me think then is that you're juicing it up to make extra money. If you want to tour, then tour. Okay, I don't have a problem with that. I'm not the guy who's going to tell somebody when they should retire. I'm not that person. However, this makes me believe that you're not satisfied announcing a regular tour because it's not going to sell as well. You're not going to get as many bookings, and you're going to make less money. So the easiest way to milk your fans of money is to say it's the last tour. You're going to be everywhere. People are going to love you all of a sudden. Even with Kiss, when they announced their ending, all of a sudden even their critics love them. Rolling Stone magazine loves them. Howard Stern loves them. Everybody loves you when you end. And these bands know that. That's the thing. These bands know that. So it's not like they don't realize this. It doesn't go over their head. So when you orchestrate it like that, you make a lot of extra money. You get a lot of extra press. But it's to milk the fans. That's the thing. So that's why I don't respect it, okay? I don't respect people who milk their fans. I respect people who offer fans different things if they want it, like merchandise or whatever. That's cool. But treat them with respect. Don't treat them like they're stupid. I don't like that, especially when you're living in luxury, and a lot of these guys got very lucky. I'm not taking it away from them, all the hard work they did, but a lot of these guys are drug addicts, not just in Mötley Crüe in general. They're drug addicts. They're irresponsible. They would not have had a shot in life, period, if it wasn't for the fans. They would be working maybe at McDonald's if they were lucky without these people. I want you to view your audience like that if I'm going to be a fan of you. I don't want you to look out there and see dollar signs. I don't want you to look out there and see ATM machines or wallets. I want you to look out into the crowd and see the faces of the people who made your quality of life a possibility. Because you've gotten very, very lucky to get on stage and play mediocre music and make millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. I mean, playing these songs over and over again. You don't even have to make new music. You've already won. So let's calm down with the greed. Let's treat the crowd with a little bit of respect, just a little bit. And let's have some common decency for the fans. If you like the content you've been seeing on this channel, make sure to become a member for early access, exclusive videos, and much, much more. It's a great way to support the channel for just $5 a month. Hit the description link down below. Go and check it out. Have you dreamt of starting YouTube or podcasting but don't know where to start? Or maybe you've started but aren't seeing the results you want? I'm now offering my audience one-on-one consultations for YouTube and podcast creation. These consultations cover the whole gamut, from launching your podcast, maintaining it, to finding your brand and actually reaching your audience. This is not a course or a one-size-fits-all. Together, we'll create a custom plan that actually works for your content. And if you're just a beginner, I'm offering my YouTube and podcast growth ebook down below in the description. If you want to take your content to the next level, check the links down below in the description. I can't wait to help you guys build.